always chasing that one perfect fasting schedule. But does it even exist? Today, we are talking about the perfect fasting schedule. And it might not be what you're thinking, because here's the thing. There really isn't a perfect fasting schedule that fits every person. Your perfect fasting schedule is gonna be uniquely yours. Sure, you could read about circadian rhythms or other scientific methods that might help you optimize your fasting routine. But if it's a schedule that you can't stick to, who cares if it's scientific? You need something that you can stick to and that fits your life. The perfect schedule is one that you can live with long term, feels good, that fits into your life, and that actually brings you joy. For me, this personally looks like I do OMAD or 1 meal a day most days. And then when it's opportune or on occasion, I have a down day where I eat nothing, or I have a 500 calorie meal, and it's followed immediately by an up day where I intentionally eat more than a typical 1 meal a day, and for much longer time. So I do OMAD on a near daily basis, and I sprinkle in alternate day fasting when it fits my needs. Basically, if I have a day where I want to eat more, I intentionally eat less the day before. But guess how I found that out? Not because I read it in a book and someone said this is perfect for every person. No, I played around with fasting a lot, and that's what this video is all about. What I love about intermittent fasting is there are so many approaches, and none of them are right or wrong. Each of them can work depending on the person and their life. I thought it would be fun today to share some exact fasting schedules from people in this community. I'll read through their routines so you can see just how many different fasting schedules people make work for their lives. Before I start, I do want to make one thing perfectly clear. I'm not a medical professional. I don't have a science background. I'm not a nutritionist. I am a fasting enthusiast. I've been living this lifestyle for over 5 years. It completely changed my life. It changed my health, and I love sharing it with people for that reason. I just want you to know that as we are coming into this, I'm not a health expert, I'm a fasting enthusiast, and I think that's important to know. Also, I'm not endorsing one schedule is better than another. I want to show you that there are options for you to consider. We each have to find what works for us, and it's okay if it changes over time too. Say you try OMAD, or you do something that's similar to what I like to do, and you don't like it. You don't have to stick with it. If you like it, awesome. But if you don't like it, make changes. Try something different. As Jen Stevens says in Fast Feast Repeat, you can tweak it till it's easy. That's what I did. I had no plans of starting out eating 1 meal a day. I thought I'd fast for 18 hours, have a 6-hour eating window. But I found that I ate too much in the 6-hour eating window. I would become quite uncomfortable, or I would get full at the beginning of the 6 hours, and I thought, why keep my eating window open? I naturally moved to OMAD because that's what felt best for me. But it wasn't because I read it as Jackie's perfect schedule, must do. No, I kept trying, and I eventually landed on this perfect for me schedule. And that's the beauty of this lifestyle. You can try different schedules, you can experiment, you can even make up your own. Just find what works for you. Are you seeing the theme? So with that in mind, let's jump into the real fasting schedules that people in this community have shared with me. You might just hear something that sparks an idea for your own routine. Now, some of these usernames are a little tricky, so bear with me. This is Crusticky6159. I'm doing a 4-3 fast, and I'm loving it so much. Sometimes I also do 16-8 or 24 when my schedule makes it more difficult with the down days. It's so important to be flexible and not to be rigid, or at least for me. I started my fasting journey 1.5 months ago, but only recently staying consistent with a clean fast, and well, what can I say? It truly is life-changing. I feel so much better, more energetic, and I'm enjoying my fast. Yay! That shows a lot of variety. It also shows plain, and with only 1.5 months in, I did take this poll a few months ago. I'm a little behind in making this video, but you're definitely in the experimenting phase. I love this, and thank you for sharing. I like a 19-5 or a 24. Eat a nice meal when I open and eat more after a few hours usually. Been doing it for 3 years after I saw one of your videos, and I've been maintaining an 80-pound loss for the last year. We'll be doing this forever. Thank you for your channel. Oh my goodness, thank you for sharing that, and you're absolutely so welcome. I love hearing stories like that. I found so much peace in this lifestyle, and I love it when others find it as well. If you're totally new and you are seeing this, 19-5 or 24 means you're fasting for 19 hours and you have a 5-hour eating window, or you fast for 20 hours and you have a 4-hour eating window. Very simple. So 22-2 or 23-1, all the same. Fasting hours followed by the eating hours. Thank you for sharing. Marcella Jatoba 1520 says, I love my new OMAD schedule. I eat between 1 and 2 p.m. every day, which gives me plenty of time for energy throughout the day. And by the time I go to bed, I feel good. I also give myself 2 cheat days during the week where I eat lunch and dinner. It changes to whatever works out best for my schedule that week. I love that. Honestly, I'm gonna love every single one of these, and I'm gonna try not to give a ton of input because this is gonna be a long video as it is. But this shows someone that's dedicated and disciplined in the fast, but they give themselves room to breathe. So I have a pretty typical week most of the time, but there are things that pop up here and there. I do the down day and the up day, but if you already know you're gonna have 5 days of 1 hour eating window and then 2 days where you eat longer and you can move it wherever you want, that's amazing. It gives you flexibility and it gives you peace of mind that you're not stuck in some rigid sentence. Love it. Thank you for sharing. Lindy Moon says, I break my fast at 6 p.m. and typically try to begin my eating window with my main meal, not snacking, and with vegetables/protein. I don't impose limits on when I close my eating window, but generally 90% of my eating is done within the first hour. The week of my period, I play it by ear and aim for about 3 p.m. to eat. I think that's so important to make changes for your cycle. I personally was the same way. I was much hungrier as my period started. And the funny thing is, even though I've had a hysterectomy, I still feel like I have a cycle and I have the same feelings, even though I don't menstruate. I still have my ovaries and I feel the same way, so I completely understand. And I appreciate your input, and I love the flexibility again. I'm gonna try not to keep saying the same things, so if I'm not commenting as I'm reading these as much, it's because I feel like I'd be a broken record. But I really, really love seeing the flexibility and how everyone builds their own individual schedule. BMBB608 says, generally ADF, which is alternate day fasting, starting after dinner one night, fast all day and break the next day mid-morning or so. Then I usually get 2 meals in, lots of protein and fat, and then repeat after second meal that day. Saturday is generally 2 meals, as well as Sunday if I want them. Whole thing starts again Sunday after dinner. I'm not super strict if something is coming up. I'll just switch and maybe do OMAD, then hop back on my general routine. I love the freedom to change things up while being mindful of what I'm eating and adhering to some sort of time restriction. I feel like an adult. That last bit got me. I love it, and I love the flexibility. I know, I've already said that a million times. But thank you for sharing. Nadam ATV says, still figuring it out after 3 months, but so far here's what works best for me. A combination of some OMAD days, some 2 meal days, and some alternate day fasting sprinkled in. I think having this variety is what works so far. Love it, and you're still figuring it out, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Variety is very important to me. So even though I eat 1 meal a day, some of my OMADs are 15 minutes long. If everything's prepared and it's there and I'm satisfied, I close my eating window. And some OMADs might be like yesterday, I ate my dinner, I had a meeting, and then afterwards I had some popcorn. And I had an iced coffee the entire time during the meeting. So it was about 2 hours long. That still to me is OMAD. I'm having my main meal and I snacked afterwards. But the timing variety, there isn't like a strict limit on it. Again, so many ways you can play with this. Val the Pool Gal 4471, love the username, says, my perfect now is at least 16 hours, up to 22 hours. Because I'm 5 months in, consistency, perfection. So some of this I have to make a little bit of a judgment call. It says, because I'm 5 months in, consistency, perfection, that's all I'm concentrating on at the moment. I believe that this means they're focusing just on being consistent in their fasting, and that's it. And I think that's really important. I think learning to fast is really important before you do anything else. Don't say, I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna get 100 grams of protein a day and I'm gonna learn a new fasting routine and I'm gonna get 9 hours of sleep. Like if you overhaul everything in your life, or at least personally, you're gonna burn out. So I think focusing on the consistency is amazing. Thank you for sharing, Val. Italiana861 says 45. So you fast 40 hours, you have a 5-hour eating window. Those are rolling fast like that. Perfect. That's all they said. I don't think you need to say much more. Love it. Renee N9Y says, I do 19.5, 2 meals a day, and usually OMAD during the weekend along with down days during the month. Love it. There's a variety. You have some sort of consistency, and you can sprinkle in the down days whenever you want them. Thank you for sharing. Planning to Prosper says, I do OMAD on Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at dinner time to eat with my family. If I'm feeling really good, I'll fast the whole day, but give myself the OMAD if I really want it. Then I have a window of 12:30 to 8:30 the rest of the week. On those days, I do strength training, so I do more fuel and protein. I have 2 meals and 1 snack on those days. I always have a cup of hot tea and a square of dark chocolate before bed. Ooh. I've lost 20 pounds in my first month doing this, and it feels super sustainable, which is really important to me. I think that is paramount to any schedule. Something that fits for you, that's joyful, and that's sustainable. I love it, and I appreciate you sharing. Danielle RR22 says, I've been doing IF for 7 weeks, and I have to admit I started off a little bit too aggressive. I was doing 24 and sometimes 22 the first 10 days or so, and I was feeling discouraged. I had to remind myself that I want this to be a lifestyle and tool I can use to help lose weight and create better eating habits rather than a specific deadline to lose weight fast. I shifted to 16/8 with my window being from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. most of the time. This window is important for me right now because my 3-year-old is very much in his picky eating stage, and how can I tell him to eat his lunch or snacks if mom hasn't had a single thing all day? It also bummed me out when he was excited about food and offered me a bite and wanted to share, and I had to tell him that I didn't want to eat at the moment. You're prioritizing what is important to you, and I love that. I feel like I do not binge or overeat like I did before I was intermittent fasting. It's also like giving myself the permission to eat what I want during a certain time takes away the shame of eating a bad food. I 100% relate. That's why I don't restrict any foods. The switch never turns on that leads to might as well eat like crap for the rest of the day because you had onion rings from Culver's for lunch. I understand, girl. I hope this helps. Your channel has helped me a lot, and I love seeing a fellow Michigander on YouTube. Woo, Michiganders! I love that sharing, and I do think that's really important to know things about yourself, like psychologically too. If someone tells me, or I tell myself, really, you can't eat this, this is off limits, I will fixate on it. I don't do well with restriction in my eating window. I do much better with having a time restriction than a food restriction. If I tell myself I'm not eating, then I'm not eating, but I have the freedom to enjoy whatever in my eating window. I focus much more on what can I add to my eating window, and I don't focus on restricting. And you're right, it helps so much to not have the, well, I screwed that up, might as well give up for the day mentality, because I've been there a million times too. Rosebud I7Y8X, very short and sweet, the actual ADF. So alternate day fasting, fast one day, eat the next, fast one day, eat the next. That's what I think they mean by the actual, short and simple. Thank you for sharing. Breakfast on the Stars says, I mindlessly eat at night, just can't stop. So IF is working well. I eat breakfast and lunch, 7-hour window. If I eat red meat at lunch, I don't even feel hungry later. My breakfast has been delicious. I think I found the best way of eating for life. You've helped me so much in achieving this freedom. With a heart emoji. I'm sending it back. Yay, Breakfast on the Stars. Sounds like you are a breakfast gal through and through, and I really appreciate you sharing. That tip about red meat is really interesting. I've never even considered that, to be honest. Darlene NG7NP says, my eating window is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I may eat 2 meals or 1 meal and a snack, or just 1 meal depending on the day. I vary when I eat within my eating window by my hunger levels. Love that. I try not to eat my main meal until I'm moderately hungry. Most days my eating window is 3 hours or less, but I have days I'm just hungrier or I have plans with someone, and I may have up to a 6-hour eating window with 2 meals, no snacks within 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. time frame. I love that. I love that you give yourself space to meet people, that you also go by your hunger levels. And I'm just going to add a little bit of information here. If you're totally new and you're watching this and you hear her say 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., that's 6 hours. But she says often she's done within 3 hours. That means that maybe she extended her fast past 10 p.m. past 10 a.m. or she closed it before 4 p.m. So maybe she wasn't hungry and she didn't open her eating window until 1. Her planned times are 10 to 4, but that doesn't mean you have to open them then or you have to close it then. She plays with that as her goal. And I think that's really a great way to look at it. Me personally, I have a goal of 18 hours every day. I'm often much further than that, but like the days right before my period, if I'm at 18 hours and 15 minutes and I'm hungry, I'll open my eating window with, cottage cheese and pistachios before I have my main meal. Even if I don't normally do that, I got my 18-hour minimum before my meal. So you can play around with it, but just because she says 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., those are her guidelines and she plays within there. So I think that's something that's really hard to grasp maybe as a newbie, is even if you do your hours don't have to add up to 24. I have a video all on that. But if you fasted 22 hours and then you eat only for an hour, 22 plus 1 equals 23 hours. You don't have to keep eating to equal 24. I hope I'm not muddying the water. But Darlene, I appreciate your input. Kara2162 or Kara2162 says, I typically do a 16 to 17 hour fasting window. I have a small 200 calorie lunch and a larger dinner. I like to change it up, and usually once a week I'll throw in a 20+ hour fast as well as a day without any fasting. I reached my goal weight 1 year ago and I've been maintaining effortlessly thanks to intermittent fasting with a confetti emoji. Woohoo! Yay, Kara! I'm proud of you. I think that's amazing, and I really love the variety. I'm very curious what you have for a 200 calorie lunch. I'm thinking, like, is that eggs? That'd be pretty easy to keep. You can have 3 eggs for 210 calories, or a couple eggs with some onion in it or something. Curiosity has got me on that one. Layla Tabe 9301. Forgive me because I'm probably wrong on that one. Perfect schedule that works for me is ADF, alternate day fasting, where I decide to completely fast on my down day. It's the perfect schedule that involves no planning, no counting calories for a 500 calorie meal. Just simply fasting one day and eating the next, with a thumbs up emoji. I love that. If you are completely new, again, I will share alternate day fasting. You have a full fast day and a full eating day consecutively, and you just kind of do it rolling, or you can do it on occasion like I do. But on down days, there are people that do a complete fast, you don't eat anything, and then there are people that like to have 500 calorie meals. I personally like both. It kind of depends on the day. Do I have a good 500 calorie meal option available? I might do a Jimmy John's unwich, which I can build a delicious sandwich, less than 500 calories. It's very satisfying. I enjoy the meal, but I'm getting my longer fast. I have found that both of them are successful, but some people really find comfort one way or the other. Some people really like the ability to eat. Some people find that it's too cumbersome or it's hard to stop at 500 calories. There are so many ways. Again, alternate day fasting, you can even play within those parameters and what works for you. Thank you, Layla. I hope I said that right. Betsy H2503 says, my fasting schedule is anywhere from 18 to 24 hours on weekdays. Weekdays are usually 2 meals a day, with the exception of Tuesday when I only eat lunch. Tuesday is an OMAD day for me. On weekends, I relax my schedule. If I'm hungry after 14 hours or so, I'll eat, but I don't eat until I'm hungry. I think that's awesome. You kind of give yourself permission at a certain point if you're hungry, and if not, you just keep waiting. And I really think a lot of people probably struggle with the weekends, and I think having a more loose schedule on the weekends or permission to do something different is a wonderful way to approach it. Thank you, Betsy. Queen Quoia, I hope I said that semi-right or right, probably not, but thank you anyways for your input. I'm sorry I butchered that, but my fasting schedule is a mixture of alternate day fasting, ADF, and OMAD, 1 meal a day. I do 2 full fasts a week with up days in between, then OMAD the rest of the week, fasting at least 18 hours. That is extremely similar to me. We're queens together, but that's what I like. My schedule has been so crazy lately with traveling and surgery and my daughter's surgery. There's just been too much. But a typical week for me, I would love to have 5 days of OMAD, 1 down day, 1 up day. That would be a perfect week for me. It hasn't happened in a while, but it's very similar. And then on my OMAD days, I do try to fast at least 18 hours. So thank you for your input. I need to take a coffee break. I'm talking too much. Black coffee for those of you that are curious. My favorite username of the day, Googly Moogly 173. My eating window is typically 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., but I'm flexible with it. I'll extend my fast if I can or want to for events and meals so I can enjoy it fully. Or I'll end it earlier or later if I need to eat for the gym or if I'm just super hungry. Smiley face, and I love it. I purposely wore my smiley face because talking about fasting and schedules is actually a huge joy of mine. I love fasting. I love this lifestyle, and I knew I would love reading these. So thank you for the smiley face, and thank you for your input. I love the variety. Patty Plouffe 4345 says, I started tracking my window instead of my fast, 4 hours or less, and it's been working well. I absolutely love that. If I ever stopped tracking, that is what I would do. I would just pay attention to how long I eat in a day, and really imagine this. I'm not talking to Patty, I'm talking to someone else, because Patty, you know this, I know that. If you eat dinner, and then say it's 3 hours, and then the next day you eat breakfast, it doesn't really matter that there's not a long fast in between there, because you're gonna have a very long fast from that breakfast until the meal the next day. So if you concentrate just on the eating window, that works so well. It's just another way to look at it, a different point of view. And I love that Patty shared that, so thank you. Anonymous 328 says, fallen off the wagon after a year of OMAD, and I've been on a 12-12, 2 meals a day for 2 weeks, along with bone teeth pain, poor eyesight, and chronic insomnia of 1 to 4 hours. I hope that will all be resolved as you continue. So obviously this is not shared in an effort to say it's a perfect schedule. It's someone to say that they were fasting, they fell off, they have ailments, and they're trying to get back. Anonymous, I am wishing you the best of luck. I'll say prayers that your fasting routine gets figured out and your ailments go away. That does not sound fun. I am very sorry to hear that. Moving on to It's a Me, Mario, a very good username as well. I have practiced fasting protocols for 19 years now, and my all-time fave is what I call flexible ADF. I rarely eat back-to-back days, but I'm not strict about it either. If there's an occasion and I want to enjoy time with family, then I enjoy. Perfect. Who doesn't want to live that life, honestly? Like, perfect. I'm very flexible. That's kept the weight off for years. I love that because so much of our life is to be enjoyed, right? And if you are constantly denying yourself joy, even in joyful events, it takes away the rest of the joy. I have events I literally can recall that were fun, that I thought about the food the entire time that I wasn't having or I wasn't participating in, and it takes away that joy. Consider yourself lucky if you don't even understand what I'm saying. But I have a feeling if you're watching this video, you probably have some level of understanding. Food is joyful for me, and when I can allow myself to participate in whatever way I want, whatever way seems joyful at events, I can fully be present and enjoy it more than just the food. So thank you so much for sharing, Mario. Audrey Maximumin X. I find 19.5 works best for me. I eat a small snack, usually powdered peanut butter and whipped topping around 10 a.m. Yummy. Then I have my lunch with dessert no later than 2 p.m. I haven't been able to do the 500 calorie down day yet. I hope to one day incorporate that. The first few months I did a 22-2 intermittent fasting. I lost over 20 pounds doing that. I love it. And I love that you are sharing that you started with a schedule that was a little more rigid and you've loosened it, and you're finding things that work for you, especially like having a window opener that you can look forward to that I'm assuming is delicious. I've never made that exact thing, but I love powdered peanut butter and things, and whipped topping, yes. You're finding what works for you, and I appreciate you sharing because someone is probably like, hey, I could do that every day. OT Gustav 114. I do 16-8 fasting, so I eat breakfast and dinner. But on Wednesdays and Sundays, I fast the whole days. So I only drink tea and water, but I also chew gum on my fasting days. I love it. And I love that you are making what works for you work. Is gum something that other people might say don't have while fasting? Yes. But if it works for you and you're finding joy, absolutely do what works for you. Go Gustav. Irish Lizzie says, lately it's been 19.5, but over the past 2 years, 24 or 22.2 has been what I've done on average, and I feel the best with that. I love it. You have variety, and with 19.5 all the way up to 22.2, you can accommodate a lot of different occasions, a lot of different events. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Lizzie. Casualty 9207 says, fast at least 20 hours every day. I eat dinner as my OMAD for a max of an hour every day. Amazing. You find what works for you. That's great. Now, some people might be like, that's really rigid, or I can't eat all my food in a day. I have done multiple months where I eat at maximum an hour every single day, and I have never missed out on a single thing. I have loved my eating windows. Well, I mean, I'm sure I missed out. Obviously, the other 23 hours, food was present, but I found so much joy. Yes, maybe I decided to eat this hour instead of that hour, but it was joyful. I got a lot of different foods, and I could prioritize whatever was most important to me that day. And I love it. Thank you for sharing. Pure Energy says, I don't OMAD, I ADF, so alternate day fast. So mine looks like 36 to 46 hours, sometimes 44, with a 5 or 6 hour eating window. I love it. Again, that's the rolling fast idea. Now, if you started with Jen Stevens' book like I did, she mentions up days should always have a 6 hour up day. That's how I approach it. But I'm a fasting enthusiast. I don't have the science and the medical background to say that this is wrong. It obviously works for Pure Energy, and a 5 to 6 hour eating window. I know personally I can get a lot in there and my body will not worry it's starving. So I think that's amazing. And having the rolling fast like that gives you a rhythm, but it also gives you variety. Thank you. Sonia Samuel 216. I am breastfeeding mom, so not able to fast much, so the simple 16-8 or 17-7 works for me so that my supply doesn't reduce. Skipping dinner works for me so the bedtime routine is not messed up and I'm relaxed at night. I eat really well and enjoy meals when the kid is at school during the daytime. The simple change has helped me to reduce 17 kilograms in 7 months. Kudos to you. I will say that, again, this is not a medical person, but it makes me feel nervous not saying this. It is not recommended that if you're breastfeeding that you fast. You do have nice long eating windows, the 8 or 7 hour eating window. I think that's amazing. There just is caution to breastfeeding and doing fasting. So I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't feel like I should not say that when I've read it so much. So I'm glad you are finding something that works for you. And if that is the case, kudos. So whether you're OMAD, a 2-meal-a-day kind of faster, someone who mixes in alternate day fasting, or you're still experimenting, your schedule can be perfect as long as it works for you. Don't be afraid to adjust, pivot, or completely change things up along the way. The most important thing is that it's something you enjoy and can stick with in the long haul. I'd love to hear if you have a different personal fasting schedule that you want to share. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'm sure if someone's watching this video, they're probably going to read the comments as well, and you might be helping them on their journey. Remember, there's no one size fits all when it comes to fasting. Test it, tweak it, and celebrate whatever works for you. I personally am a huge fan of OMAD, and if you're interested in giving that a try, here is a beginner's 101 guide to OMAD that you could check out. Cheers to a joyful fast, joyful life. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, Donna, ciao.